This is Tasha from Women's Fight News, sponsored by Champions Memorabilia. And today I'm joined by pro boxer Lisa Whiteside. Lisa, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Lovely to meet you and speak to you in person.
I know it's nice, isn't it? It's crazy, isn't it, to think like, especially on social media, everyone goes like back and forth, and then you finally get to see someone face to face. It's so
Yeah,
exciting.
nice, really good.
I know you've had a busy day today as well, which I must say, it's bank holiday. Like it's today, not the day of rest.
No, it's just, do you know what? I'm so confused of what day it is. It's crazy, but it's still a training day, isn't it? So, still putting the hours in, getting the work done, and just getting ready.
That's it. And obviously, congratulations are in order. You have now signed with Probellum, which is so exciting. I mean, how did it come about and how are you feeling about it all?
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm absolutely made up. Back when I was coming back from having my baby last year, we was on the brink of signing with Frank Warren. And I was going to be boxing in August, and then obviously I tore a tendon in my rotator cuff, which needed an operation. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely mortified. I was ready to go. I was ready to fight, and then that
Oh,
happened. So, we was literally just on the brink to sign, but with obviously my time out, I think female boxing's just gone within that time. It's gone even bigger, hasn't it? It's just
yeah.
brilliant. So, then obviously my managers were like, "Well, it." Sam Jones used to be my manager, but he's now gone working with Probellum. And obviously, I'm still with Adam S-Jam Boxing. And he just said, right, I'm going to go out and see what offers and things and who's interested. And then he came back with Probellum, and yeah, it's worked out even better. So really chuffed.
I mean, it is amazing and everything happens for a reason. But how difficult has it been, especially like tendon issues? And there were some breaks and bones and tendons are just horrendous injuries. So to be, you're about to fight on a Frank Warren show, to suffer that injury, like mentally, what's that journey like being for you?
Yeah, it was really tough. I'm not going to lie. When it happened, I was just like, I can't believe my luck. I
Yeah.
was just gutted, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to get back to it. That's going to be it. That's going to be the end. And I think it's the fact that I've said, I want to get that world title for my boy, has kept me driven. And luckily, obviously, I needed an operation. I've got a private scan to get it checked out and confirm that it was like a full thickness tear, so quite a severe tear. Um, to get it done privately, I looked into it. It was something like £9,000, which can't really justify when I've got a baby boy now. It's just,
No.
I can't think that as my priority. So I thought, oh, this is going to be it. I'll be waiting months and months with the NHS. And luckily, it was a bit longer of a wait, but I was I was on the operating table. I think it was either October and November, and I did it in
Oh,
August. So you think, especially with the current situation with COVID and everything like that, I thought it
yeah.
was going to be ages. And luckily, I got the operation sooner than I thought. And then it's just, I thought, right, come on, just get stuck in, get back on, get the rehab. I think it's just my pure grit and determination. I've come back from quite a few injuries and
Yeah.
accidents and obviously childbirth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, God forbid anything, hopefully it won't ever happens again. It might be, my time then, but yeah, fingers crossed. It's strong. The consultant, obviously, I've been back and he's amazed by my recovery, and yeah, I'm feeling fit and strong and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, you have had some setbacks, haven't you? I mean, this journey's not been easy for you at all. And
No.
just the fact that you're still here, I mean, it shows how much love you've got for the sport and how passionate you are. And obviously, you've got that goal of getting a world title, and nothing, not even these injuries are going to get in your way, which, I mean, fair play, because I don't know if I would have it in me to keep going. It must have been difficult, but like you said, you want to get that world title for your son. And
Mhm.
obviously, you were an incredibly successful amateur. And then you turned pro. Did you turn pro and then you had your son, didn't you?
Yeah. So I turned professional and I had 3 fights
Yeah.
at flyweight. But
Mm.
me and my husband have talked about having a family, and basically then transpired that making that weight stopped me having monthly cycles, and it affected us to have a family. So number one priority for me and my husband was to have a family. So I pulled away then, not thinking I would come back. That was like the end of my boxing career, because it, you know, for it to be detrimental to have a family, I thought no. So I had to go on like hormone meds and things like that to get my cycles going. Actually ended up conceiving naturally, because unfortunately we had a miscarriage the first time, which is quite it's quite common from these hormone meds to help you have cycles, ovulate. So I had a miscarriage at 6 weeks, but then 7 weeks later, obviously not had any medication or anything, then found out Jensen was on the way. So it was weird, you know. All I could say was that once I knew he was safe at about 20 weeks, when you had that second scan and everything was fine, I had that desire. Then I was like, oh no, I've got to get back into it, and I want to do it for him. It's just a strange, different feeling now. Obviously, still want to do it for myself, but you know, to go out there and try my best and try and get that world title for my son, it'd mean the world to me. And then, you know, for him to grow up and see, obviously he's only 1.5 now, so he hasn't got a clue what's going on, but I'm sure he'll be able to obviously look back on the videos and the stories, and it'd be nice to do it for him.
Oh, definitely. I must say, when I found out that when obviously you gave birth to your son, you said his name was Jensen, I was like, that's got to go top of my list now as baby names, because I just love that name so much. I love it so much. And he's so cute.
And he was born on Boxing Day. How mad's that?
Oh God! Oh, it's a busy month then for you.
Yeah, just a bit of a busy Christmas, but yeah, he's ace. He's my world, and you know, it's amazing. You know, I fit my training sessions around, but obviously my priority is him. So sometimes we have to change things and work things out. This week he's been poorly. I ended up at the doctor's with him as chest infection, ear infection. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have to cancel that. I'll move that. I'll change that. But no matter what, work around it and get the sessions in.
Yeah, I must say we see it so much more. Like, you know, years ago you would see a lot of people or obviously a lot of women who would, you know, turn over whatever sport, not necessarily boxing. They would be a professional, and then they would go, right, I'm starting a family, and then they would retire. But we see so much more now where women come back into the sport, and there's nothing like a mother's strength. I just think when you see these women who come back and now they've got, like you say, you want to do it for your son, I just think you have that extra level that maybe some others don't have. You've got that like extra desire and that like mum strength, I feel, which makes you probably even more dangerous in the ring, probably.
Yeah, it definitely gives you more like determination, and like you say, you'll do anything, won't you? And I've never understood the feeling of being a parent, obviously, because until he arrived, and it's just a different feeling. And I'll do absolutely anything for him. But you know, look at Tasha Jonas. Yeah, she had her baby girl, then turned professional, and now she's a world champion. You know, it's amazing. And obviously, you get the comments on Twitter and social media. I used to let it bother me, but now I don't. And it's like, who are you? Are you too old? And well, the average age for a world champion is 37, and I'm 37 in September. So, you know, I need to get it. I need to get there. So, no, it's good to see. Like, look at Jessica Ennis. I used to obviously train at the same strength and conditioning place at the EIS in Sheffield, and she came back so much stronger and leaner and fitter after having her 2 children. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, I think you see it so much across all the sports. And I think that's what's great, why we're seeing women now. Like you say, the average age is what, like 36, 37. That's brilliant, because years ago you'd have to retire by, like, you know, if someone wanted a kid like late 20s, then you've got to retire. Whereas now we're seeing people, they say mid 30s. And I think that's when people are peaking as well, especially mentally. You know, when I speak to a lot of boxers who maybe either turn over late or they get into their peak later on, not necessarily early 20s, to say this is the best time because mentally I'm in the best place of my life as well. So do you feel like that's like you're coming to the perfect time in your career?
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. As in, I think, like you say, because of your maturity, and it's just that, I think that really helps, because obviously I only started boxing when I was 21 years of age, and it was just for fitness. And then I got a bit better at it and a bit better, and then it just kind of spiraled.
A bit better, a lot better, and a lot better.
And obviously, I remember my first ever international tournament as an amateur was the Europeans. I didn't have any it was straight into the Europeans. And I missed out on becoming European champion by 2 points when it was a point scoring. But I remember back then, and obviously I was 20, I think I'll have been, about 25 then, something like that. I was so nervous, so nervous. The question, like, why am I doing this? So you can imagine being a young athlete doing that. It's getting through that, isn't it? So the more you mature in life and go through things, and I don't know, you could probably focus a bit better and keep hold of them nerves. I have little, don't get me wrong, I still get nervous, and you want to be, don't you? Because you want to be switched on. But it's just making sure you channel it in the right way. So yeah, I think definitely that helps. And yeah, it's just that grit and determination, isn't it? So
yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think life experience as well, going through. I mean, boxing's such a funny sport, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, isn't there? And you see, you read horror stories about managers and all of that. And I think as people get older, I think people take less shit as well. And I think as you get older, you're probably more confident in knowing what's right for you, what's wrong for you. Whereas I think sometimes with slightly younger fighters, we see possibly like mistakes made at times. And I definitely think we see the best out of people when they're getting like 30s, mid 30s, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, obviously, I know they're saying, aren't they, that the next Olympics, the Paris Olympics, then after that, there might not even be boxing in the next Olympics after that. So we are going to then get a lot younger people turn over early. I just think it's a good apprenticeship, if you can, as a young person, to go and box, to try and get to box as an amateur to a high level, because you're boxing decent girls out there, because otherwise, if you just turn over, then you just boxing journey women initially. It's how do you then build that experience up? And I think obviously some people say, oh, amateur boxing is completely different to pro boxing. It is, but at the end of the day, it's still boxing, and it's the experience. I've boxed so many different styles in the amateur game. Your aggressive come forward, they're usually from Ukraine. Box couple from Ukraine, absolute monsters, come forward really strong. Then you've got Bulgarians, usually like your counter boxers, your back foot, hook spin off shots, things like that. Usually your Russians are tough. It's just, Kazakhstan's non-stop. It's I've boxed probably, USA. I've boxed so many different styles. So then it gives you that experience, and you can bring it into the pro game. Definitely feel pro game suits my style. Is my power is my strength, and also my aggression, but also my boxing brain. So you can change it, mix it up. So yeah, I'm just biting now to get in there and get back boxing again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do agree, like, they say amateurs and pros are, in theory, the worlds apart to some degree. But I think as well, when you turn over straight away, you don't get the amount of fights in. I know some, look at Sky Nicholson. I think she's going to have 4 fights in like 3 months, which is incredible. And so many boxers must be so envious of her, but that doesn't happen a lot. So you're seeing people like, Ellie Scotney turned over. She had a bit of a nightmare. She had 1 fight, then a massive gap. At least in amateurs, you're getting, like, it's consistent. And that's what doesn't happen in the pros, which I think is always quite a shame.
Yeah, that's the only thing, isn't it? It's a hard, tough, like, waiting game. Like, I'm still now that fight date, saying it's July, but I've not had anything confirmed or set in stone yet. And you're like, well, I need that. And I think it does give you that, once you've got that fight day, you've got that extra focus, haven't you? That extra, at the moment, obviously I'm ready, but then you get that fire in your belly when you've got that fight date, and obviously you know where to be with your weight and everything like that, because, I'm never going to go down to flyweight again in my life. I would never want to deplete my body and do that again, and I don't need to. I originally, when I won medals, European and world medals at featherweight, I was 57 kilos. So I've boxed at heavier weights. So I'm going to come back at super bantam, which I think is a nice, comfortable weight for me. I could go down to bantam if any, good opportunities arose. But I just want to get back boxing. I'll fight it anyway. Far flyweight.
I was going to ask about the weight, because I know in amateurs, like you said, you actually moved up and down a good few categories, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like I say, obviously it can become like, if you're depleting yourself that much and you actually forget, like, especially as a woman, like you mentioned before, how you were worried about obviously being able to, like, get pregnant. I think people forget actually, when you are trying to cut weight, how dangerous it can truly be at times. And how difficult is it trying to find a weight that, one, you're comfortable with, but also, you feel healthy in?
Yeah, I think it's just, obviously I've just had to listen to my body, let my body settle down after having a baby, and then see where I sit without, training loads, to see where I sit, think, well, I'll comfortably, get to that weight and not be, I've never, even when I was flyweight, I always made sure my weight was bang on. So I never depleted my body. I was still strong. It's just that when I spoke to the specialist, it's like, obviously there's a switch in your brain where saying, well, you don't need that working at the moment. So it switched that off.
Right.
And it's quite a common occurrence in female athletes when you're pushing your body to the limit. But obviously, because I went to the Commonwealth Games out in Australia, and I made sure that I weighed in 50.2, even though I had to weigh in under 51. I always weighed lighter because I knew that obviously you weigh yourself, you get weighed every fight. So, and that was from finish to end, it was a week of making weight. So you think it's not just like the pro game of day before. So, but I wanted to make sure I could then have a meal, recovery, drinks every time I boxed. And it's just doing it in the right way and be sensible in what you do to make sure it's correct. I would never deplete myself, like, or like sauna suits or do anything like that. For even if it's the day before a fight. Mick, my coach, will tell me after, because I'll be lighter before my weigh-in. They'll be just like, you don't need to be that light yet. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm happy, I'm comfortable. So
you see some horrible ones. I think MMA, is quite bad for that, with how they cut weight. And you do see some absolute shockers. And I don't know how people do it to themselves, and it just can't be healthy. And it can't be enjoyable.
No, exactly. I'd win on my pro debut. It was on a Frank Warren show. It was when Billy Joe Saunders boxed with, and there was a lad then who got on the scales and pretty much fell off the scales. It was that drained. They did, and I don't think that he didn't box then because of that. I think they must have pulled the fight because of how poorly he was. You think it's all right draining yourself, but will your body replenish that within 24 hours? I don't think it would do. So you need to be on your weight, comfortable, happy, and then rehydrate, obviously get your electrolytes in and get ready for fighting.
No, 100%, because I think it's the longevity in your career as well. Like, you might pull it off once or twice, but surely that's not healthy or good for you long term at all.
It's got to be draining on your body, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So super bantam, you said, didn't you, that you're going to go back to?
Super bantam. So
that's a nice division. I like that one.
Do you know what? It's absolutely brilliant. Like you just mentioned then, Ellie Scotney, got Ellie there, and we messaged each other not so long ago about sparring and stuff. But it could be that we end up in the ring together down the line. Hopefully, it would happen. It'd be an absolute cracker of a fight, and I have utmost respect for her. And you obviously get in the ring, do your job, and then have a big hug at the end. So
that's it, isn't it? I mean, I was going to ask you about that fight. Would it interest you? Because I know obviously Ellie's just come off an unbelievable performance the other week, as she just boxed so brilliantly, and I know she wants to push on for world titles. I know you want to push on for world titles sooner rather than later. So that's definitely a fight, surely, that could be made in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I know she obviously shouted and called out Ebony, didn't she? Ebony Bridges. So that's down at Bantam, but I don't know if she'd go to Bantam or not. But I hope she gets given, the next opportunity. And I'd love that fight. I'm never going to turn down any opportunities. you know, if you want, like you say, if you want to be the best, you've got to box the best. And I want to box the best girls out there. Obviously, yeah, it'll be nearly coming up 3 years out the ring because of obviously having baby and then my injury. It kind of obviously pushed it back. So, you know, people are like, oh, well, you've been out for 3 years and, you know, you worry about ring rust. And it's just, I'm going to have to take them chances if I want the big opportunity. So obviously leaving it to Probellum and to Adam, my manager, and they're obviously trying to plan a good route for me and get me them fights. So just wait and see. It's the patient side of it. I'm waiting and I'm just like, I just want to get boxing.
I mean, you must be patient. You've waited 3 years. You can wait a few more months. I don't know how you've done it. But, you know, with this, obviously you've been out for 3 years. Is your mindset of you are picking up where you left off? Or do you feel like this is a complete, like, fresh start in a way and you'll feel like you're having your debut again?
Yeah, I said that. I said it's going to be like having my debut again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, obviously I had 3 fights, but they were at flyweight. Mick, my coach, who's trained me from the amateur game into the pro game, he's my best friend as well, and he's done. Obviously, we've had to. When I was recovering from my shoulder injury, and also when I was pregnant, we still did stuff and tweaked things. So we've made a lot of changes, or not changes, but added things to my game, and really, really good. And I feel like my strength's definitely a lot stronger now at a heavier weight. My strength and conditioning, I'm working with Christian Blacklock now, who's Tyson Fury's S&C coach. So he's been working with me for the past few months now. Obviously, once my shoulder was good to after rehab and everything, so he's been building me, and I'm just like doing heavyweights each week. We're in the strength phase at the moment, and I used to hate S&C when I was on GB squad, but I think that's because I'm so like depleted, and I didn't really have. I still had the punching power, but I didn't have the strength in my legs. That's where my weight came off, where now I've got big thighs again. But I know that Mick's my coach is like, yeah, but that's a good thing, Lise, because that's where your strength comes from. So yeah, I do. I feel like it's completely fresh start, but in a good position, a strong position, and I'm just willing to get them opportunities. And I think, you know, having Probellum and obviously S-Jam behind me, hopefully I will get them shots.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose that's quite a good outlook to have, of like treat it in a way like your debut again. But you've also got the experience. I mean, you've got loads of experience in amateurs, of course. You've got the 3 pro fights underneath your belt. So you're in quite a nice position, I suppose. What's the ideal situation for your first fight? Let's say it happens in July. Will it be in the UK, will it?
Again,
or anywhere?
I'm not bothered. I am not bothered as long as I just say, right, there's a date, it's confirmed, this is what you're doing. Hoping for like it'll be either an 8 or a 10 rounder straight away.
Oh really? Because I was going to say, are you wanting to? I didn't think you'd want to go in at 4, but I wasn't sure if you go for like a 6 maybe.
No, they're going to do an 8 or a 10 rounder.
No,
4.
Absolutely not.
No.
I've waited 3 years. I'm not doing 6 rounds.
Yeah. So no, just got like with my 3 fights that I had prior to it. Like I had my first fight, my pro debut was against a girl who was, I think she'd been beaten once and then had won all the fights. And then the second one, she was a full-on journey woman who just like a spoiler. But then my 3rd fight, I had the Russian, again, like journey woman, but she'd been in with like world ranked number 3s and gone the distance. And I stopped her in the 2nd round. And that was obviously at flyweight. So now I'm like, right, I just can't wait to get going again and start really, you know, I just need to be shown and you know, hopefully there's not massive ring rust and I could put on a good performance and people can obviously see what I'm like as a pro now as well.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. How exciting. Do you think your own, I don't know, worst nightmare in the sense of when, you know, before you had that shoulder injury and you're obviously looking to come back and things, I felt like you were quite avoided by many because I feel like people know how good you are, know your experience. I feel like at that time people were probably saying no, maybe quite a lot to you, or definitely if you were ever mentioned of them fighting you, they just kind of brush it off. Is that any worry? Because I always think you can be like a victim of your own success sometimes, can't you?
Yeah. Do you know what the worst thing was as well is that I I killed Sam for this. Sam was like, right, you need to start calling people out. You need to do this. You need to do that. And that's not me. And he was like, and then next minute I'm getting all this like horrible abuse back. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. That's not me. I just want to go and box. That's all I want to do. Yeah. So, you know, I have utmost respect for all the females that are out there that are boxing, and, you know, it's like I know most of them. They've all been most were the world champ. Savannah Marshall, you know, is a really good friend of mine, obviously on Team GB with me, and she's done massive things for us, hasn't she? And God, I can't wait for that fight with Clarissa Shields. But
I'm excited.
I think the word gets round about like my strength and things like that. So yeah, I think I am getting avoided a bit. So it's being able to get me in a position that you can't avoid me. Or if you want to show that you're the best, then, you know, let's have a good fight. And I'm not saying that people can't beat me. Do you know what I mean? So probably the best time to, people would think, well, when would the best time to box Lisa? When she first comes back after having a baby and a shoulder injury, or do we wait until she's in full flow? So it's a difficult one, isn't it? But I hope not. And I hope, you know, they do want to fight me. And I suppose it's a difficult one because I've got nothing as I know, like Shannon Courtney wanted the rematch with Bridges, but Bridges is like, well, you haven't got a belt, which is understandable, isn't it? It's like, what are you doing it for? So it's that I need to go and try and get something to make someone go, well, actually, I'll fight it because I can get that belt off her. And but I'm just leaving that to my manager, to a Probellum, and hopefully, you know, get me in a good position for that. If not, I just hope I'm not avoided. But
it will happen. You know, Tasha Jonas was similar. I think, you know, she came with a lot of risk but no reward because she didn't have a belt. You see it quite a lot, but you can't be avoided, you know, forever, can you? So, you know,
not when I'm 6 as well, so I need to be quick.
Well, you've still got loads of time. Like I say, this is the average age now to be a world champion. And I know you're going to leave it to Probellum and that, but do you roughly have in your mind, like, right, I want however many fights, and then I'm just going right in at the deep end, and I'm challenging for a world title?
Well, obviously, we've spoken. It's going to be quick, so hopefully, you know, get the opportunity by the end of the year for sure. Which would just be awesome, wouldn't it? And just to it's one of those where you think, well, I can show people that, you know, don't give up, and you can be thrown things at you at left, right, and centre. You know, I've gone through quite a lot of things in my life. From obviously, I lost my dad on the same week as I got on GB. Lost my dad to cancer. Went through that battle with him. Then obviously I had a head injury, fractured my skull. I fell off a wall, nothing to do with boxing. Come back from that. 2 shoulder operations, and it's one of those where I must just have that, I don't know, I just don't give up. And I think I always need that goal, so I always need that challenge. I think that's the personality I am. I think I couldn't just be one of these people who just go to the gym. I'd need to improve purpose. So it's just, I'm just excited, and I just want that fight, and just want them, hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, I put on a good performance and show people what my boxing skills are about.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, it'll end up being like that fairy tale story because you've just been through so many obstacles. But then that moment will finally come, and just imagine when you're in the middle of the ring and you've got a world title, and then your son will hopefully be there, and I'm sure it'll all come together, won't it? And you'll think, oh God, all of them years and all of that waiting has actually been worth it.
I've been boxing since I was 21, but obviously not full time. Then I was a full-time police officer at the same time, and then obviously got into GB, was there for 7 years, and then obviously turned over. So it's been a long journey, lots of experience, lots of ups, lots of downs, physically and mentally. You know, I think, like you were saying about the maturity side of things, I think a boxing, a lot of it is the mental side of it as well. especially in the pro game of the business side. That's the hard bit, because it is about, the promotion side of it and getting bums on seats, isn't it? And things like that. So it's not just where amateur is purely sport, the pro game, it's the business side of things as well, isn't it? So
which takes over a lot of the time, I think.
It does, sometimes. And I'm not, sometimes social media can be really, really horrible and nasty, can't it? These trolls, I never really even knew about it until now. And then you get these comments, and like when it got announced that I was signed with Probellum, and I think one put on something like, I thought she was working at the pub last night, or I don't know if you like to say who's she, and then when did she win them Commonwealth Games? And you like just silly little comments where now I just don't even entertain them. I just, I acknowledge.
Just so sad.
I acknowledge the nice comments and the love, the support. There's some big fights out there to happen at bantam, super bantam, and it's awesome now that you can watch an Eddie Hearn show or a Probellum show, and you've got females on them, not just one female. It used to be just one female on it, wasn't it? Now you're getting a few on them. Savannah boxes, April's on there. Probellum.
It's great to see that, isn't it?
Probellum, obviously. Estelle, is it Estelle? She boxed, and it's massive, and it's just growing and growing now, and I think it's just going to get bigger. And I think it shows, and they're exciting fights, aren't they? Look at Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Being to have that as the main show, it's amazing.
That was one of my favourite fights I think I've ever been able to sit and watch. It was just unbelievable. But this is just the perfect time to be involved, isn't it? Like you say, the last couple of years, women's boxing's been grown, but I feel like now it's just hit a complete, new level. And, like you say, you being on Probellum, which is just such a great platform as well. That's so exciting. It is. And that's what I love about all these like Probellum coming on board. Obviously Boxer is fairly new with Sky Sports. Like all of these new promotional companies are just brilliant, because it's just more ways to watch boxing. There's just more platforms now. It's perfect.
It's like every weekend, isn't it? And then you've got like Boxer show on, you've got either them on a Friday, then you've got obviously DAZN, and then you just, and obviously Matchroom, and you just like, there's that many, which one am I going to watch? It's brilliant.
Hard work, isn't
it? It is. When it's like when I've been able to like review some fights, I'm like, well, which one am I watching? Where am I watching? And I didn't get to watch who's the girl who boxes with Anthony Corolla?
Rhiannon Dixon.
I've not watched that fight. I didn't.
That was brilliant, that fight.
Was it a good fight?
I really enjoyed it.
Obviously I've been down and sparred Tash, but I've not sparred Rhiannon, so that would be a nice one to set up to spar.
I like her. That was a tough fight for her because it was quite scrappy, and she had a head clash, and then the ref was awful with Rhiannon and done like a point deduction, and she went through so much, but it was a great learning fight, I think, for Rhiannon. I thought she looked brilliant, and she dropped her opponent twice as well.
Well, I believe she's a strong girl, so, and southpaw, isn't she? So that'll be mad sparring for Tash, southpaw, isn't it? You don't get so, but no, I said to Tash, I'll have to go down and do some rounds with her soon. So she's obviously, hopefully we get that, the big fight with Hannah Rankin, I'm guessing it's going to be.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'll definitely be there. That'll be awesome.
I'll have to sit on the fence. So with who's winning that one, I'm never going to have an opinion on who's winning that. I'm just going to sit and enjoy.
You know what? Sometimes it's nice to do that. Obviously, my Tash is a really close friend to me, and I would back her 100%. But I love Hannah to bits. She's, she's done amazing things for female boxing, hasn't she? And she's come. She hasn't come from the amateur game, has she?
She come from white collar, didn't she?
I think is Rhiannon the same? Rhiannon Dixon. She come from.
I believe so. She's There's actually a couple who have come from white collar, actually. Which is great. It's like another avenue. Not everyone obviously gets the amateur pedigree, but if it's a way into the sport, like look at Hannah, she's world champion, 2-time world champion.
Terry Harper. So
Terry Harper.
I know she's not now, but she's been world champion. I'm sure she'll be a world champion again.
Yeah.
And you know, I think she had a bit of amateur background, but nothing massive. So
yeah, definitely
but
not.
yeah, now I'm going down to do some rounds with Terry this week, actually.
Oh,
Next week.
nice.
Rounds. So that'll be interesting. She's slightly taller than me.
Yeah, she is tall, isn't she?
But, I'm looking forward to it. It's good to get a different variety of sparring, isn't it? So
yeah.
Nice. Yes, I look forward to
That's what I like. Everyone kind of comes together. Everyone kind of spars everyone. I notice when you see everyone posting pictures on like Instagram and things, like it's like a little community. It's really nice how everyone very supportive of one another, which I quite like. It's different, I suppose, from some of the male side at times. So I think it's a lot more supportive with the women.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to go down the route of, don't we? It's like just, you know, let the boxing talk. I think that's the best one. Let the boxing
not into
talk.
the trash talking. I don't like it. I cringe at a lot of it because then everyone hugs and kisses after the fight, and I'm like, so everything you've done in the build-up was lies. I don't believe it. Lisa, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck. Like, fingers crossed you get that fight in July. Selfishly, I hope it's in the UK so I can come and watch, obviously. But either way, as long as you get out, that's the most important thing.
I'm not bothered. No, thank you. Lovely to speak to you.
Oh, no, thank you so much. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe.